Now I'm going to switch to logistics for half a second. Do we have Natalie Meyer on? Perfect. Okay. So Anna Ma is another one of our dear colleagues, an implementation scientist at the University of Colorado who's homesick. So I get to present Dr. Meyer, or introduce Dr. Meyer for us. And I don't need this because I know her well enough to be infatuated with her, but I'll give you a few details about her. So I met her recently from someone we're going to hear from tomorrow who's like the world's most passionate librarian, Ashley Farley at the Gates Foundation, who's dedicated her career to improving open access. And she has worked with Natalie Meyer, who's really setting some of the standards for what is the ethical and responsible use of AI in healthcare. We recognize that it's the Wild West right now. People are making it up as they go. And Natalie Meyer is one of the people in a position to help this be done responsibly.
Hi, everyone. I hope you can hear me all right.
It's perfect.
Terrific. I'm going to share some slides with you, but the great thing is everything you hear from me, you can visit again later. Let's take a quick check here to make sure I'm sharing well. And ta-da, hopefully you see a little bit of information about me. My name's Natalie Meyers, and I'm here to talk to you about artificial intelligence application in health, ethics, governance, and the state of the art. We're only going to spend a few short minutes together during your 2 full days. So I'm really pleased to join you today and want to emphasize that your endeavors are timely and your motivation to improve trauma patient outcomes is really inspiring to me. As Lacey mentioned this morning, there's a real opportunity for us to look at how we can be part of the global movement for standardization of information. And that is my job to help you with through this talk for the next few moments. Most of the information I'll share with you today, I have become aware of through my work on the EASC Future and Research Data Alliance Artificial Intelligence and Data Visitation Working Group. You'll see a link in the upper right-hand corner to the slides you're viewing. If it's easier for you to move along and join me through the QR code, please feel free to do that. I'll keep this up on the screen for a second. These slides are also available at osf.io/CFAEQ. You can see that link down in the lower right corner. For the next 10 minutes, I'll acquaint you with resources, perspectives, and best practices for AI that can help you develop responsible, effective AI-informed trauma care. The goal is, by the end of our short time together, you'll be acquainted with the essential elements of responsible AI, know what an AI impact assessment is, aka an AIIA, and you'll know the difference between AIIA and the necessity for AI alignment. And if that sounds like a bunch of jargon to you, we'll be done with jargon by the end of the talk. Who are the AIDV Working Group and the Research Data Alliance? The Artificial Intelligence Data Visitation Working Group works on the needs for AI governance in various jurisdictional, disciplinary, and research scenarios, taking into account the potential rights of data creators, model developers, model and data reusers, and citizens, communities, patients whose lives, privacy, and well-being are impacted by AI and data sharing modalities. Our parent organization, RDA, is an international member-based organization with more than 14,000 members globally, representing 152 countries. We're focused on the development of infrastructure and community activities that reduce barriers to data sharing and exchange and the acceleration of data-driven innovation worldwide. And that's where your aims together intersect our own. It's our aim to inform and understand inclusive AI governance for our European Open Science Cloud constituencies and for our RDA membership, as well as for groups like your own. We encourage civil society participation in standards development in AI as well. We hold as important tenets of our work that adoption of AI bills of rights and policies within member organizations and disciplinary societies can create mutual trust and benefits for all, and that prioritization of AI governance will improve the longevity and relevance of research environments and communities. Maybe you do too, or you should. I hope you'll consider this as we get to know each other better over the next few minutes. On the screen, you see a brief overview of the 4 recommendations of our Artificial Intelligence and Data Visitation Working Group. We have published an AI Bill of Rights recommendation, guidance for informed consent in the context of AI and DV, guidance for ethics committees and IRBs reviewing AI and DV projects, and secure processing environments for open science, where we've proposed some legal foundations. The AIDV's guidance promote AI governance while advancing the AI research and policy landscape based on responsible ethics and human rights within open science frameworks based on globally developed and implemented guidelines. Our guidance promotes this while advancing some of the things we hold dearly in common. And you'll see a link to each of these outputs at the end of the slide deck if you visit online. So I'm not going to belabor these today, except for to say there's also a supporting output in AIDV's shared citation library. This shared citation library was offered to you in your read-aheads, and I hope you will pursue some of the readings in the ethics and healthcare and medicine subgroups. Here you'll find a lot of the current writing and thinking that are influencing both global, national, and state level treatment of AI governance here in the United States and among your research partners worldwide. The AIDV Working Group mission is to conduct a comprehensive global investigation of AI governance, inclusive of ethics, human rights, regulation, health, open science, evolving AI technologies and applications, focused on delivering state-of-the-art guidance for international reference and institutional implementation. So you can take this information as reference and to inform yourselves, or you can pick it up and do an implementation within an organization or institutional setting. Our guidance documents promote that AI governance while advancing AI research and policy. We address challenges like the rapid proliferation of AI regulations, policies, technologies, and applications in our global multicultural cross-border research and in clinical trials environments, including digital twins. We look at the inclusiveness of nations, regions, multidisciplinarity, representativeness across sectors, and we're the first attempt to address these questions in the Research Data Alliance and on an EU and global scale. Our outputs are open and reviewed. You can visit them online. And what's next really are implementations. There's a data quality platform integration right now with Lifetime Omics in their Fairlease project. We're offering guidance and training for IRBs and Research Ethics Committee members, and our outputs are informing research assessment, scientific and academic institutional policies, synthetic data best practices, and more, including through the recent UN consultation on the Independent International Scientific Panel on Artificial Intelligence at the Summit of the Future and events just like today's. What are the essential elements of responsible AI? We recommend the elements that you see on the screen as essential to prioritize as parts of any responsible AI strategy for any group, project, university, hospital, jurisdiction, or community. These include the creation of AI and acceptable use policies. We emphasize here that you need to formalize the definition of AI in your community, document key roles and responsibilities related to AI, and outline what for you will be the acceptable and unacceptable uses of AI for your community, for the doctors and the patients who are using AI together. You might want to form an AI working group within your society or your membership, or within projects that you work on that are AI intersected or that develop an AI tool. This oversight committee's job will be to oversee AI systems, allocate resources, develop and maintain your AI governance policies and procedures, and keep them available for your community of practitioners and the communities you serve. You'll need to provide some AI training and education, because training and change management are integral to the successful operationalization of AI and AI policy. AI impact assessment is something we're going to dig into a little deeper, but it's a necessary component of you creating a responsible AI project that can be well managed and reflect your own use policies. I strongly recommend ongoing monitoring strategies, and you'll need, in addition to these, to consider whether you'll have a human in the loop, a human over the loop, or a human out of the loop monitoring plan, and the periodicity with which you will review your logs and their alignment with your plan. You're going to need a notice and disclosure agreement and a notice and disclosure process within your group if you use a common AI. And you're going to need to do some vendor due diligence. Is your vendor applying these same responsible AI strategies? And are you privy to knowing what their decisions have been? And finally, you'll need to test your AI systems for bias to identify different types of biases: systemic, human, computational. Mitigating biases requires action at each stage of the AI life cycle. We strongly recommend, because it is essential to govern systems that can potentially cause certain harms, and it's essential to assess the impacts of AI systems, that the below elements become part of your prioritized elements for a responsible AI strategy. You'll need to determine what will be your AI system impact assessment process, how you'll document and share AI system impact assessments. Consider how you'll assess AI system impact on individuals and groups of individuals, and consider how to assess any further societal impacts of the AI systems you deploy or integrate. Finally, you'll need to plan how you'll periodically conduct AI system impact assessment processes in your org or projects. Here on the screen, you see a flowchart for applying AI from an organizational perspective. We talked about artificial intelligence and impact assessment. Here you see a link to an article on a systematic review of AI impact assessments. And I want to emphasize within this graphic a couple of things that are really important. And these are your data protection impact assessment, your environmental impact assessment, if any, your risk management, and other due diligence activities. These are things that your organization is probably doing already for many IT or information systems projects, and they don't need to be duplicated within your AI project. You just need to be mutually informative to make sure you're in compliance with current best practices in your organization, and that your AI strategies align with the other strategies, policies within your organization. And so you'll see, as the flowchart moves through adoption and how you determine if you need an impact assessment relevant to each circumstance in your deployments, the ways you can identify possible issues and metrics, how you can integrate impact assessment into your organizational practices, how you can collect, analyze data, and keep logs that help you do the periodicity that you need. And you'll find a time to develop your mitigation strategies if your assessments show you directions that don't align with your policies. We're going to talk about that again in just one second. So I can't give you in 2 seconds a deep dive into this, but I can tell you that this kind of guidance is available to you and can inform your strategy and the way you do your time planning for how you adopt AI and how you can adopt it in such a way that you limit liability and you create an on-ramp for the advantages that you've been talking about already today and that you'll dive deeper into tomorrow. What is AI alignment? It's an AI safety research process independent of impact assessment. It aims to ensure your AI systems achieve desired outcomes. If you create or implement an AI policy, you'll need to be able to define the system or policy's desired outcomes, articulate how you'll document the process for monitoring, measuring, and logging, where you achieve and where you fall short of achieving the desired outcomes or benefits of your AI or your AI policy. You want to consider that auditable detection for bias we mentioned before. And here, what you're looking for is bias detection that exposes cases where your decision logic is in violation of your agreed upon ethics. This is really important because only you can decide this. That's why you need that policy committee, and that's why you need the policy committee to be part of how you share your impact assessments and your AI alignment strategy. You want to consider auditable detection for privacy violations. What happens if there are privacy leaks and those are detected and that exposes cases where your decision logic was in violation of your agreed upon ethics, ensuring privacy, either to patients within the data or with patient outcomes that are in violation of the agreed upon ethics. You'll need to have a control and escalation process to assign responsibility for investigation, a process for notification, disclosure of violations, and a process for reconciliation or restitution to impacted individuals and groups to mitigate and correct consequences of non-aligned AI. This is really important because once you put this together, it protects you and it allows you to monitor your system before it causes egregious harms. I invite you to stay in touch. I can field questions now, and I invite you to visit the guidance that our working group has put out, our guidance for informed consent in artificial intelligence and data visitation, our guidance for ethics committees, our AI Bill of Rights recommendation, and our legal foundations document about secure processing environments for open science. I can take a few questions because I think we're ahead of time. Is that true, Lacey, Ashley?
That's exactly right. Thank you, Dr. Meyers. Just raise your hand if you're in the room, and then we'll keep an eye on the chat also.
That was complicated for my brain. And who is going to be tasked with this oversight of AI in each institution? It sounds like you're going to have a bunch of people that are going to have to be able to monitor this, who have that knowledge, because I didn't understand half of this stuff you said, no offense, but it was pretty complicated.
It is pretty complicated, and that's why I really recommend disciplinary society level decision-making and support. And this is why I recommend that when you enter into vendor relationships, that you assess what parts of this process your vendor does for you and which process has to happen within your own organization, because you don't want to have your time taken up with monitoring your AI if that overburdens you and AI causes you to spend more time on cases than less because you're doing more bureaucracy and less patient care. And nobody wants another system like that. What you'll find in the literature and in disciplinary societies, not only in healthcare or in clinical trials, but across communities like chemistry, physics, and so on, are groups setting up guidelines for the entire profession, and the profession relying upon those after careful review, consideration, and deliberation, and then taking them up within the context of vendor or AI system provided logs that can be reviewed by policy-making bodies or committees that you may already have by a different name. We have another talk we give that shows the different hats we wear in AI and how in many organizations, those are people we already know with job titles that may not say member of AI policy committee, but will in another 6 months, year, 2 years. So this isn't a DIY thing. And hopefully it won't be taking up your own personal time after you've decided at project and disciplinary levels what your ethics are and what your policy best practices are.
Thank you, Dr. Myers. We have a question from one of our remote attendees, Darshan Thoda. If you're in a good spot to come off mute, I'll let you ask your own question. Otherwise, we'll ask it for you.
Oh, yes, that'd be great. Thank you so much. Are you able to hear me?
I can hear you, Darshan.
Oh, thank you so much. And this is a wonderful talk. I really appreciate you taking time to educate us about AI frameworks. At the DHA, we're also looking to establish an AI framework. And I had a question about your machine learning pipeline. Were you able to establish a machine learning pipeline, a governance process for that? And did you include a provision for generative AI? Over.
That is a great question. And fortunately or unfortunately, you're talking to a lady who in my home institution, the University of Notre Dame, at the Lucy Family Institute for Data and Society, we have many projects with machine learning pipelines and a variety of different governing mechanisms depending on the disciplines they serve. We do them for agriculture, industry, democracy, healthcare, pharmaceuticals. So you see, again, the way that commonalities in governance could be taken up to help govern aspects of each one of those projects' machine learning pipelines. The other place you'll see this come to bear again is on retraining models. And finally, you asked, did we include provisions for Gen AI? And the short answer is in the Research Data Alliance Artificial Intelligence Working Group, there's a lot of attention paid to Gen AI and agent promptable AI. But we take a broader view because in our work, we've been part of and continue to be part of artificial intelligence research projects and computational modeling projects that are not Gen AI specific or not LLM specific. So decision science and the use of AI in decision science can be part of Gen AI or not. And you may or may not have the same kinds of ethical considerations within the data, depending on what's in your training data set. If that helps answer your question a little bit.
Oh, yes, ma'am. Thank you so much. And if you don't mind putting your contact in the chat, I would love to reach out offline. Over.
Oh, sure, you bet. Thank you, Darshan.
All right, we have time for another question if there's this now. Also, thank you to our military colleagues. You guys are punctual, you're clear. I love the use of over. Thank you.
I do too. And you'll be happy to hear that in our informed consent output, we had military members in the co-author group because they are punctual, terrific contributors on any group.
Amen, amen. Thank you so much, Dr. Myers. We really appreciate your time today.
It was great spending time with you. These resources are available to you online. I'll pop them in the chat and they'll become part of the program. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for letting me join you.
Thank you. Take care.